Hi everyone. I just wanted to talk today a little bit about the process of how a bill becomes a law. This is, crucial concept in any civics course, and we tend to spend a lot of time on it. um, I would definitely recommend watching the Schoolhouse Rock video that's in your module. It's a really fun little song video for understanding how a bill becomes a law. But I'm going to take you through it just again so that you can have had it 2 or 3 times, and the announcement today is going to explain it in text, sort of how a bill becomes a law. So if you look over here, you can see that there's a beginning in the House of Representatives and a beginning in the Senate. Now, the truth is, any law is going to have to go both through the House and through the Senate. And other than spending bills, which have to begin in the House, it doesn't matter whether a bill begins in the House or begins in the Senate. All that occurs is once it's all the way through one side, it has to go through the other. Okay? So we're going to take you on a bill through the House. So let's say that a bill is going to impact farmers. Now, if that's true, the bill is going to be assigned to the Agricultural Committee. And just like that, it's probably going to be assigned to a subcommittee. Now, what happens in the committee is where most of the work in the legislative process happens. And what committees do is basically have hearings. And they look at the bill and they call in experts to see who's going to be impacted and how much it's going to cost, and all of the consequences if they decide to pass this bill. Now, one of the most important things for you to understand is that only about 10% of bills ever emerge from the committees. That means that 90% of the bills are what are called pigeonholed or just die in committee. And that's really a testament to the fact that our founders created a system that made it very difficult to pass laws. And remember, they did not trust government, and they did not want a government that was constantly passing laws and impinging on the freedoms of the people. So once it comes out of committee, and it goes through what's called a full committee markup, and they vote on it, and they send it out of committee, then it needs to go to the full House. So all 435 members of the House of Representatives need to vote on it. And that's a lot of people. So the first thing that happens is there's a rule committee that decides how long people are going to be able to debate on this bill. Because you can imagine if 435 people wanted to debate a certain bill and they had unlimited time, it could take years to get one bill passed. So usually the Rules Committee sets the amount of time that people are allowed to talk. Maybe it's 2 minutes, maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's less, and that's what they decide. After that is called floor action, and basically the bill is either killed if it is voted down by the 435 members or a majority of them, or it is passed by a majority of the 435 members. At that point, this bill needs to begin to go through the other chamber, the Senate. It needs to begin in the Senate. So it gets a number and it starts this whole process all over again. Now, other than a few things at the end, the process is basically the same. You've got the committee, the subcommittee, they go through the hearings again. They probably call the same experts, maybe some different experts if the Senate is controlled by the Democratic Party and the House of Representatives is controlled by the Republicans. Of course, they're going to call different experts that they, think are going to say things that advocate for their side. The major difference on the Senate side is once you get to the floor action. Here, there is no time limit for debate because there's less members, and it's just a tradition that the Senate has something called the filibuster, which you guys are going to actually learn about tomorrow. I've got a little video to show you about the filibuster. And the filibuster is when a senator can basically speak unlimited and attempt to delay a vote on a bill and essentially kill the bill. Now, if the bill comes out of the Senate and is also passed by the Senate, you have basically two versions of the same bill, because as it's going through this process in the Senate, they're making changes to the bill, they're changing words around, they're adding things to the bill. So it is not exactly the same bill that came out of the House of Representatives, if that makes any sense. So when that happens, a bill needs to go to the conference committee. And that's where members of the House and members of the Senate, it's called a joint committee, actually sit and discuss which parts that they can agree on and which parts they have to take out. But eventually they have to come out with one bill. The president cannot sign two different versions of the same bill. So once it comes out of the conference committee, you have one bill, that's going to become a law, and it needs to go to the president. And of course, he can either give his signature or he can veto the bill. And that's basically the process.